Getting pulled over by the police is nerve-wracking for everyone, no matter who you are or how many times it's happened before. The flashing lights in your rearview mirror, the sudden jolt of adrenaline, and the uncertainty of what comes next can make even the calmest person's heart pound. Your heart races, your palms sweat, and you wonder what you did wrong. Did you miss a stop sign? Were you speeding? Or is it something else entirely? In those tense moments, your mind races through every possible scenario. But for millions of people, especially in the US, there's one question from an officer that can turn anxiety into outright fear. Do you have a gun in the car? It's a question that seems straightforward, but it carries enormous weight. It sounds simple, almost routine, but how you answer can change everything in an instant. The words you choose, your tone, even your body language, all of it matters in that split second. And this isn't just an American issue. Anywhere in the world where police ask about weapons, the stakes skyrocket. The question itself is loaded and the consequences can be life-altering. The officer knows the script. They've been trained for these moments, running through the same questions and procedures countless times. You, on the other hand, probably haven't rehearsed what to say or do. That imbalance of experience and knowledge can be dangerous. In that imbalance, things can go catastrophically wrong. Misunderstandings, fear, and split-second decisions can spiral out of control, sometimes with tragic results. Saying yes might feel honest, but it can instantly escalate the situation. The officer's demeanor can shift from routine to high alert, and suddenly, every movement you make is under intense scrutiny. These encounters happen every day, and while most end quietly, the ones that don't can destroy lives and entire communities. The aftermath can ripple outwards, affecting families, neighborhoods, and public trust in law enforcement. Legal advice in these situations isn't about tricking the police or hiding the truth. It's about survival. It's about knowing your rights, understanding the risks, and protecting yourself from a situation that can escalate beyond your control. We'll break down why that question is so dangerous, what experts say you should do, and why the obvious answer can sometimes be the worst one. The law is complicated, and what seems like a simple yes or no can have consequences you never imagined. When you say yes, you're not just giving information, you're changing the entire dynamic of the encounter. The officer's priorities shift, and suddenly, your safety and theirs are both at greater risk. In a flash, a routine stop becomes a firearm encounter, and the margin for error disappears. Every gesture, every word, every second counts, and the consequences can be irreversible. Understanding the script, knowing what to expect and how to respond, could be the difference between a routine stop and a tragedy. It's not just about following the law, it's about staying alive and protecting your future. To see why this is so risky, let's rewind. The story behind today's tense roadside encounters is more complicated than it might seem at first glance. It's a story shaped by centuries of law, culture, and shifting public attitudes about guns and authority. The US Constitution's Second Amendment protects gun ownership, but what that means has been debated for centuries. Some see it as a guarantee of personal freedom, while others argue it was meant for organized militias. Over time, the meaning has shifted, shaped by court cases and political battles. In 2008, the Supreme Court's Heller decision made gun ownership an individual right, fueling a surge in public gun carrying. Suddenly, millions of Americans felt newly empowered to carry firearms, not just at home, but out in public, on sidewalks, in stores, and yes, in their cars. Meanwhile, courts have given police broad powers during traffic stops, all in the name of officer safety. Officers are trained to expect the unexpected, and every stop is treated as potentially dangerous, especially when firearms might be involved. Combine more guns with more police authority, and you get a recipe for conflict. Even routine stops can escalate quickly when both sides are on edge, unsure of what the other might do. State laws are a confusing patchwork. Some require you to inform police if you're armed, others don't. The rules can change, not just from state to state, but even from city to city, making it hard to keep track. Cross a state line, and the rules change. What's legal in one place could get you arrested in another, sometimes just a few miles down the road. The burden is on you to know the law everywhere you go. There's no central guidebook, and mistakes can have serious consequences, fines, arrests, or worse. Tens of millions of gun owners, police trained to expect danger, and a legal system that's anything but clear. This is the backdrop for every roadside encounter. Each stop is a meeting point of fear, uncertainty, and the weight of history. The lawyer's warning isn't anti-police. It's a response to a system that puts everyone at risk. Both drivers and officers are navigating a maze of laws and expectations, often with little room for error. The history isn't just background, it's why your heart pounds when those lights flash. It's why a simple traffic stop can feel like a high-stakes moment, even if you've done nothing wrong, and it's why you need to know what to say. Preparation isn't just smart, it's essential for protecting your rights and your safety every time you see those flashing lights in your mirror. Picture this, you're pulled over, and the officer leans in, asking, "Do you have any weapons in the vehicle?" It's a question that can catch anyone off guard, even if you've done nothing wrong. Maybe you're a legal gun owner, someone who's taken the time to get a permit and follow all the rules. You know your rights, and you want to be honest. Your first instinct might be to say, "Yes, officer, I do," thinking that honesty will help the situation. But here's the thing, unless your state specifically requires you to disclose that information, most lawyers agree that volunteering it is not in your best interest. Why is that? Because even a well-intentioned admission can be misinterpreted as a threat, especially in a tense or uncertain situation. If you say yes, the officer's training and instincts may kick in. Suddenly, what started as a routine stop can escalate. They might draw their weapon, order you out of the car, or treat you as a potential danger. In just a few seconds, the entire encounter can shift from calm to high risk, putting everyone on edge. And in that heightened atmosphere, even a nervous movement or a misunderstood gesture could lead to serious, even tragic, consequences. So what should you do? The best advice is simple. Don't lie, but don't feel pressured to answer directly either. Remember, you have the right to remain silent. This isn't just a phrase from TV. It's a real protection you can use. The key is to assert your rights in a calm, non-confrontational way. You don't want to escalate the situation, but you do want to protect yourself. Practice a response that's both respectful and firm, so you're ready if the moment ever comes. A simple statement like, "I do not answer questions, officer," is all you need. Nothing more, nothing less. This isn't about being difficult or disrespectful. It's about keeping yourself safe and making sure the encounter doesn't spiral out of control. Take the time to memorize this script. It's something you hope you'll never have to use, but it's crucial to know by heart. Because in these situations, the wrong answer, or even just a poorly timed one, can change your life in an instant. Stay informed, stay calm, and always know your rights. The worst-case scenario, Philando Castile. In 2016, Castile, a licensed gun owner, told a Minnesota officer he had a firearm during a traffic stop. Seconds later, he was shot and killed, despite trying to follow the law and be transparent. The officer said he feared for his life the moment he heard gun. Castile's death showed that even doing everything right can end in tragedy. His case sent shockwaves through the gun-owning community, especially among Black Americans. It proved that disclosure isn't always protection. Sometimes it's the spark that ignites disaster. So, what should you say? Lawyers recommend a simple, calm script. "Officer, I do not answer questions." Say it politely, then stop talking. This invokes your Fifth Amendment right without sounding confrontational. Don't lie, but don't volunteer information. If the officer repeats the question or tries to pressure you, calmly repeat your line. If asked to consent to a search, say, "Officer, I do not consent to searches." You're not being difficult. You're protecting your rights. If they have probable cause, they'll search anyway. Your job is to avoid giving consent or extra information. The full script. I do not answer questions. I do not consent to searches. Be a polite, respectful, broken record. This is your legal armor in a vulnerable moment, and it could save your life. From the officer's side, every stop is a potential threat. They're trained to expect danger, especially when guns are involved. When you say you have a gun, their training tells them to escalate, fast. It's not personal, it's protocol. Your honesty can make you look like a threat, even if you're not. This creates a feedback loop. You try to cooperate, the officer gets more tense, you get more nervous, and things spiral. Every movement is scrutinized. This is exactly what happened to Philando Castile. Lawyers call it a trap. Say yes, and you trigger escalation. Refusing to answer keeps things in a legal gray area, often safer for you. It may make the officer suspicious, but it doesn't give them a reason to treat you as an immediate threat. Sometimes, the safest answer is no answer at all. That's why the script matters. These encounters have ripple effects far beyond the roadside. Politically, they fuel fierce debates, gun rights, police reform, and more. Socially, they erode trust, especially in communities of color. People see compliance leading to tragedy and lose faith in law enforcement. Economically, a bad stop can ruin you. Arrest, bail, legal fees, lost work, fines. Even if you survive, the costs can be devastating. Following the lawyer's script isn't just about the moment, it's about protecting your future. De-escalate, avoid arrest, and you avoid the financial and social fallout. It's risk management for a broken system, because a simple question can have massive, lasting consequences. This advice isn't just internet folklore. Legal scholars and defense attorneys agree. Silence is your best defense. Professor James Duane famously warns, "Don't talk to the police. Anything you say can be twisted or misremembered." By staying silent, you give prosecutors nothing to use against you. Civil rights lawyers say the script is about control, forcing police to act on what they see, not what you say. Tone matters. Be calm, be polite, be forgettable. The best police encounter is a short, boring one. The Fifth Amendment is your shield. Use it. The magic words, delivered respectfully, are your safest bet. Let's wrap up. A simple question about a gun can change your life. The tragic case of Philando Castile shows that honesty isn't always safe. Police see guns as threats no matter your intentions. The lawyer's script, calm, polite, and firm, protects your rights and your safety. Unless state law requires it, don't volunteer information about firearms. If asked, say, "I do not answer questions." If asked to search, say, "I do not consent to searches." This isn't about being anti-police, it's about survival. Practice your lines now so you're ready if the moment comes. Keep your hands visible, be polite, and stick to the script. Knowing your rights isn't just theory, it's a tool for survival. Have you faced this situation? Share your story in the comments. Stay safe out there.